So probably, I didn't really tell you this yesterday, but we did a social experiment, and you were all part of it. You know, this is the weather outside. I don't know, I mean, you had to come here, but it was like this the whole day. So we thought we'd do a little experiment, and we tried to keep people in till 8 o'clock. Even though the weather looked at that outside, and see what happened. So who of you were here yesterday? Stayed a little bit around. Yeah, see, there was quite a few. We made a picture to make sure. So these are the people that stayed inside, although it was wonderful weather outside. We were still not completely happy with the results of this test, so we decided to push it a little bit further. So as the very last pop-up session of the day, we chose one of the most exotic subjects, the most boring subject we could think about, and that was slicing on choice elements in profiles. Now you'd think, with this weather outside and this subject, there would be no one. Wrong again. See, they were still there. Here they are. Those are the real fools. There's a surprising amount of yellow shirts, I must say. Maybe they had to be there. I don't know.
Why is it foolish because of the weather?
Well, see, that's true. If you're from a country where it rains always, you know, you really want to be outside. I mean, I told you yesterday we're going to do a hike in Olympic Park on Thursday, but we decided on that after we learned. Actually, before we learned that's the wettest spot in the U.S. I guess we'll feel right at home over there. I mean, if you're from Australia, why would you want to be outside? And inside is nice and cool. Otherwise, I took a shot of the takeaway. So these were the highlights of yesterday, people. James Capp, go Raptors, yeah. You were supposed to win, right, yesterday? It didn't really happen. How can that be a highlight? Okay, anyway, the weather, I agree. And then Pac-Man. Obviously, we need to do a little bit better today if these were the highlights. They're in the hallway over there, so please add your thoughts to those, and let's see what we can do about this tomorrow. Okay, otherwise, what to do in the evening? So we already discussed yesterday, that's done. Tonight is dinner here at the McKinley, and then we go to the social event, which is the Museum of Pop Culture here in Seattle. And of course, Wednesdays unchanged, the farewell drinks, but I got another option if you turn out to be bored in the evenings. Graham, flying over to here, passed by Europe and went to Springer, and he actually, he didn't bring books, that was too heavy, but if you're bored or you're interested, you could read Principles of Health Interoperability, which is written by Tim Benson and Graham Grieve. And what Graham was able to bring, though, is a set of coupons to get a discount. So I just wanted to make sure that if you are game for this book, please pass by registration desk, and there will be coupons, right? Good. We haven't figured... Sorry? 20% off. I mean, it's not like a small discount, it's 20% off. I don't know whether it works for ebooks, though, because they're not physically here, but, well, actually, there's one copy. So maybe we'll do something with that tomorrow. We'll see. So the social event, some details. So we have dinner here at the Microsoft Conference Center, and then probably the most important times for tonight is 6:15, 6:30-ish, when we're loading the buses. What I understood is that that's at the entrance over there. There will be buses picking us up and taking us right to the Museum of Pop Culture. Now, I'm not from Seattle, but is this peak traffic hours, or are we okay?
Hard to predict.
Hard to predict. Okay, so, well, we got an hour to get there, so let's see what happens. Then some time to enjoy it, and I heard that it's not just looking at stuff, but there will be some drinks to celebrate as well. And then buses will depart and return you either back here, downtown Redmond, or downtown Bellevue. I guess both Redmond and Bellevue are small enough that downtown is a manageable area to be dropped off. So that's the social event. Otherwise today, we have the famous group photos. As you can imagine, creating the group photo at DevDays 1 was actually way easier than it is nowadays, but we're going to try again. And it's going to be Kodiak. So that's here, just after lunch at 1 p.m. We're going to try again to make a picture with all of us here. So get something to eat and please come down here for the group photo. Then the agenda. There were some changes, but you know you know all about those. There's one thing I just want to highlight, and that's that today in St. Helens, there's a few special tracks, and these are all around the students and the startups. So we selected a few universities and a few startup companies that are going to compete in building the coolest thing they can while they are here. I'm pretty sure they did a little bit of preparation before, but they're going to finish their stuff here, do presentations on them. First, the startups at 2:30, and then at 3:30, the students. And then there's a group of judges. Are they here? Who are the judges today? Oh, look at that, yes. And most of the time it's James too. And then we'll have winners of the student and startup track. And the winners will be presenting their apps or their solutions at 4:10 to 4:50. So most of the time, it's really interesting to see what they've done. So I invite all of you to join us in St. Helens at 4:10. This is a slight repeat from yesterday, but it's still the most frequently asked question. So yes. For those who weren't here with us yesterday, you will get the recordings of all the sessions. I know it's frustrating if you can't see everything. I heard the numbers. I think we have about 110 or 115 sessions, so it's impossible to see all of them. Don't worry about it. You'll be able to download them later, including the slides, by the way. Just like the Amsterdam version, we decided to compensate for all the flying we're doing. I guess the yellow team is guilty of that too. We were with 12 of us, spending 10 hours in a plane. And that's not the only time we're crossing the oceans. So since the last edition of DevDays, we decided to do something and compensate with trees planted. In Amsterdam, obviously, we planted them somewhere in the Netherlands. Has already happened. And here, I think the trees will be planted in Washington State and in California, I guess on these areas that got bad wildfires last year. You can participate. I think when you did your registration, you were able to participate, though I understood there were some technical difficulties in actually donating. So there is another way to do it, and it's if you go to RegDesk, you can still buy trees. I think they're $1 a piece. HL7 will double that number. And in fact, what they do, and I think I got a picture here. Yes, this was yesterday morning, so I hope tomorrow I can show this thing completely filled up. What happens if you buy a tree is that you get one of these little, isn't that a Canadian national symbol? Well, anyway, those leaves that write a number of trees you bought, and they dump it behind this glass window. So it would be kind of nice if by tomorrow this fills up a little bit more. So please help us. Go to RegDesk and buy your trees over there. Then on to today's program. This afternoon we have Greg Simon from the Biden Cancer Initiative. And followed by We Are Not Waiting. We had a presentation on We Are Not Waiting in Amsterdam as well, and we thought we'd continue that with this group of people who took charge of their own diabetes disease and started creating software to help them cope with it. And so that's what we're going to hear this afternoon. But before all of that, of course, we have a small program change. This is not at Hammond. This is Peter Lee. And Peter's going to talk to us. Peter's from Microsoft, and he's going to talk to us about, reimagining healthcare in the clouds and what's going to happen. And it's interesting that Peter and I share something we discovered. We both were actually totally not coming from a healthcare background. Actually, I studied computer science. I'm taught building compilers and languages. That's what I did. I got into healthcare by accident, and I liked it so much, like probably most of us do. There's so many complexities here, and it's a good thing actually to talk about. We're all going to be patients at some point. So I stuck in healthcare, and so did Peter. So I'm happy and proud to announce Peter to get the mic from me and tell you something about reimagining healthcare. Peter.